Okay. This is a laptop, by the way, not a desktop. So
Oh,
I
nice. Yeah, mine's laptop too. I get you.
okay. Do you recommend me purchasing like a separate storage chip adapter or something, or no? Don't need to worry about that.
For like all the videos,
Yeah.
yes, I would get an external hard drive of some sort, because it'll bog down your laptop over time.
Okay.
Uh,
All right. I'm gonna do the very first introduction ever.
all right.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Inspire United Network podcast. We are training right now with Mr. Chris Anderson, my friend and brother, owner and founder of Elevate Media. Chris, glad to have you on the show, man. Thanks for being here.
Hey, Spencer, thanks for having me on, man. Excited to chat and dive into this, man.
Yeah, God, you handsome man. Thanks for your time, for real, for real.
Yeah,
And I'm
for
glad
real.
that you're letting me record this as well.
No
That's
problem.
literally the first time I've done that.
However I can help, man. However I can serve others.
All right, so the only thing I have written down here is a form um, for the driving. I have the Doable AI app for voiceover. And what other apps do you use, brother?
Artlist is one we use. They have AI voiceover stuff where you can create, put scripts, input scripts, and have it spit out, an AI version of it. It's decent. I think what the other ones we use for AI, if we do any AI stuff. We don't do as much AI voiceovers. Like we've used it for like interest for our podcast. We've done some content with AI just to kind of test with it. Um, I think Artlist was the big one we've used, just because we also use that for any stock footage we have to grab or any sort of like video assets, transitions, music. So it's like in one place for us. So
What's it called?
art
Art List.
artlist.io. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll have to check that out. Never heard of it.
Yeah, it's just like a monthly subscription, and you based on the subscription is what you have and stuff. So, um, but yeah, we use that one. If you're trying to edit audio, Adobe Podcast, I think has a free, I think it's still free, audio enhancer. So you just upload the file, it'll do AI um, work on it to make it sound better, like leveling and noise reduction, a little bit, reverb, a little bit. Um,
Adobe
I-
Podcast.
yeah, I think it's like Adobe.podcast. I
Okay.
think it's still free. Um, and then,
Do you know what Premiere Pro is?
yeah, that's what most of our guys use for editing and stuff. So we have the Adobe Suite. So we have
Okay,
different things on there to use.
nice. And that is in addition to using Canva and StreamYard as well.
The Adobe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, depending on how much edits you can do. So there's a lot. Descript is another one that can make it a little bit easier editing, especially if you're just editing out like flubs or, filler
What's a
words.
flub?
Maybe you say something wrong and you had to start over.
Okay.
Um, or like you just misspeak and you're just cutting pieces out. Descript can be one. Again, just a monthly subscription. But it also has AI tools to help enhance audio and video and things like that too. So that's another one you can look into.
I totally want to like interview you right now, but I feel like I'm putting pressure on myself and I shouldn't do that.
Just let it go with the flow.
This,
Yeah, if
yeah,
questions pop
yeah.
in, then you can ask. That's kind of how I do with mine. Is I don't actually come with like pre-scripted questions. I just have a topic that they're are experts in. So we'll dive right into like why was this your topic? Like why did you choose to do this? Or maybe I do have a question that I thought up, but then I just kind of let it flow. And like if they're saying something, I'm listening and I'll respond. And then if it opens up another question, I'll just kind of run with it. So
Okay. Where at in Texas are you?
I'm in Indiana.
You're in Indiana. I don't know
Yeah,
why I
my
said
wife's from
Texas.
Texas. We talked yesterday. My wife's from Texas. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And where
So,
at in Indiana are you?
north central, about 45 minutes north of Indianapolis, a little town called Tipton.
Tipton,
Yep.
Indiana.
Surrounded by cornfields and a couple of houses. So,
What's your timeline looking like? You thinking on your building? being how you
Not
want
soon
it.
enough. Not soon enough. It's always a longer process, just like business. You hope it's going to be, or you think it's going to be done at a certain time, and things always end up happening to slow it down, or it takes longer than expected. So I'm hoping we have spray foam scheduled to be done mid-January for installation. So that means we have to have all the electric, Ethernet, all that done by then, and anything else that we're going to have ran before that. Then that'll happen. Then we'll get the walls finished,
So
and
that's
then
3 weeks, 3 4 weeks.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
which is quick. It's fine. And then we're gonna get the floor sealed as well.
And you're
Like
hiring contractors to do all this?
most of it, yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I like running electric. I don't know why. I just really enjoy. Like I would say I'm fairly handy when it comes to like different construction things or building, um, home improvement things. Like I feel like I'm fairly handy compared to the normal person, and but I really enjoy running electric for whatever reason.
Did
Um,
you work for an electrician at one point, or did
no,
you
no,
grow up learning that or something?
no. Just I mean, just through my dad and grandparents, what they ever taught me and stuff. But like I've ran plumbing in this house, like our house. I've run electric in our house through the whole basement. Um, I've drywalled, I framed the whole basement. I framed our whole living room and ran electric in it when we redid that. I'm at the point now though, um, if I can talk my wife into it, 'cause she likes to save a little bit more than I do, money
Okay.
wise. I will hire as much as I can because like I'm good, but I'm one person.
Yeah,
Where
your time
like
is the most valuable
yeah, so
thing.
like the building out there, we had someone do the shingles, we had them do the siding, the new windows, the new door. Like I could do all that, but they got it done in like total all of that in like 3 days,
Mm.
where me it would have taken probably 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, time is the most
at a
valuable.
minimum, yeah. And I have a lot of other things that I'm doing, and those are not things I should be focusing on if I want to continue to, support my family and grow my business. So, but electric, I enjoy doing that, and I like being part of it a little bit. So, and then with that, I can like really run the electric I want, like because it's going to be our office for the guys to come edit and do content in and things like that. So like I can like we're gonna put a winch 2,000 pound winch in the attic. I'm gonna frame it in and have a winch drop down so we can store all our stands and our tripods, and we just winch hit the button from down below, and it'll just raise it back up. And that way we can utilize that space in there better instead of having it like down on the main floor. So
Okay.
things like that, like
That's incredible, man.
yeah. So like if I ever wanted to add something else, like I know how to do it, and I'll just kind of get it done. So, but yeah, it's coming along. Hopefully by the it just depends how fast we can get the floor sealed because there's still some drain stuff we have to work on um, in the floor area. Um, but yeah,
Is there a
for
shower?
Q1,
Is there a shower tub sink or something?
there is water ran out there. So we're working on getting like a bathroom because there will be like a gym. So
Dude,
we
I want
have
to come work
like
for you.
a small like half the half. So it's like 20 by 25 building. 25 by 20 foot building. And so maybe a third of it will be weights and stuff because I want the team to be able to come there, work out they want, get work done, and then, hopefully get home earlier than they would if they worked, a regular 9 to 5.
Yeah, and then
Um,
also not have to leave to go to the gym or go to work out
yeah.
and like it
And
be
I have to technically
comfortable
pay
for
for
them.
it. Right. So,
That's an incredible add value to them, brother. That's awesome, man.
yeah. So we're working on trying to get all that done. So that's another, we're trying to plan out. So it might take a little longer, but Q1 2025, hoping it'll be done sometime by the end
Bless.
of Q1. Yeah.
That's
So,
amazing.
yeah, which is crazy. I
Good for
mean, to
you,
think about
bro.
like where we started, like it's just crazy. Um,
Do you want to
like
talk about that a little bit?
I
I
mean,
would love
yeah,
to
it's
go into
crazy. Like
that.
I started in the living room of my house in this old chair. It was my grandparents with kid headphones, like these Captain America youth headphones, like say youth on them with a super cheap webcam, a super cheap mic, like super cheap, like and no lights.
And how
So
long ago
like
was that?
2019.
2019, five
Is
years
when I
ago,
started the
almost
podcast.
six.
Yeah, that's when I started the podcast, and in 2021 I started to Elevate. Um,
And so did that
and yeah,
podcast, like what was your original goal with that when you first started by
yeah,
yourself?
I just wanted. So Lewis Howes, the School of Greatness, was probably the podcast that accelerated my drive, ambition to be an entrepreneur. So if you
Power of
haven't checked
Greatness
out
with who?
The School of Greatness
School of
with
Greatness.
Lewis Howes, awesome dude, Midwest boy from Ohio. Um, yeah, just went through a lot mentally. Was a big advocate for men's mental health. Awesome dude, awesome dude. So got it. I don't even remember how I got heard about his podcast, but I started listening to it, and like people he'd interview, and like they were entrepreneurs, successful people, business people, and I was like, okay, there's more out there than me being an athletic trainer working 50-hour weeks for like, in my opinion, nothing. uh, and so I was like, okay, there's more out there in life, and so I was like, I'm going to start a podcast and do the kind of the same thing, interview successful business owners, so I can learn how they did it. and
You were
maybe
27 at the time?
20, no, 2019. So it would have been 28.
28.
I was 28,
Okay.
yeah.
And at the time you had a pretty decent career in that?
I mean, I was an athletic trainer.
You went
So
to
I was
college, you went
work.
to college for that, yeah?
I went to college for that, got my master's in health and human performance.
Ooh.
And I was actually, at the time I started the podcast, I was back in Indiana as an industrial athletic trainer. And so I was working in a factory helping these blue collar guys try to eat better, stretch, and work out. These guys who've been, on the line for decades. They're like, what are you talking about stretching? What are you talking about? So,
Where'd you get your undergrad in?
uh, I went to Indiana Wesleyan, got my bachelor's of science in athletic training, and then I did Fort Hays State online for my master's.
Okay.
Yep.
Your master's is in health and nutrition?
Health and human performance.
Human performance.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, so it was good. I mean, it was more stable hours in the industrial athletic training setting. But there's just something I was like, there's just more out there. And then it got to a point it was a weird, I lost my last grandparent. My wife lost her last two grandparents in like the span of like a year, like crazy stuff. And so like the job was like, well, you've used all your bereavement. You don't have any PTO. Like you can't just go to what it would be in Texas where my wife's family's from. You can't just go. I'm like, I'm going to the funeral. I'm going to
Yeah.
go support my family and my wife and her family. I was like, I'm going. They're like, well, we'll probably have to do time off with no pay. And I was like, I don't care. Like,
Do what
I'm
you gotta
going.
do.
You do whatever you want. Um, but I mean, I understand from their perspective, they have their, what they have to go
Protocols.
by, the managers and stuff do. So nothing against them because they were like, well, you have PTO for Christmas break. Do you want to use that to go down? We don't usually give it within this week to do that, but we could do it this time. I was like, yeah, that's fine. I'll just use that PTO. So they worked with me as best they could, my managers and stuff. But like the idea of someone telling me what I could and couldn't do with my time and how much it was going to be worth just started to really irk me. And in
Yeah.
that time, losing all the grandparents, like two of them were unexpected on my wife's side. I mean, as an unexpected as they can be for an older individual who's been around, 80 something years. But still, it reminded me like life, is not guaranteed to anyone for any amount of time. Like it could be over tomorrow. So like,
Yeah.
is this really what I want the rest of my life to be and to look like? And it wasn't for me.
Hmm.
And so yeah, 2020 came. Big story there. We eventually quit my job, and
So
2021
at
started out
this
late.
point you had started your podcast, you were
Yeah,
still working there?
end of 2019, I started the podcast. Beginning of 2020, I quit my job. Yeah, which is
And
right when COVID hit here in Indiana hard, so it was perfect timing.
so did you quit right before COVID came out or right
Like
after that?
I gave my 4 weeks notice the end of March. They said, "Can you give us 4 weeks of April to help find some replacement?" I said, "Sure," because I was a people pleaser at the time.
Uh, you
I
still
said,
are. You
"Sure."
still
A
are.
little bit, yeah. Um, 2 weeks into that 4 weeks, COVID hit. I got furloughed anyways, and it was done.
Hmm.
So I was like, okay, well,
Look at
here we
God. It's a
go.
sign.
Here we
So
go.
at that point, was your podcast already like, were you seeing results from it and it was kind of taking off a little bit, or no, it
Um,
was just a hobby?
it's kind of. I would say not a whole lot by then. It was getting some traction, and I had already improved quite a bit as far as like the setup and kind of how it looked and stuff. Had learned a lot real fast. And I still look at it. I'm like, I mean, it's grown, and I'm super thankful for that. But I was like, there's so much more growth to go. Like nowhere
Yeah.
close to Ed Milet and all these guys. Lewis Howes, like
Chris,
getting
can you hold on 1 second?
yeah, for sure.
Hey, Paul.
There's no way that just happened. Your voicemail came on and it said your call has been, and then Spencer answered.
Yeah, Paul, I'm in the middle of actually recording my very first podcast with
Praise
a friend of mine and somebody that's doing very, very well, and I'm blessed that he's agreed to even give me a little bit of his time. And I have you blocked for a reason, bro, and you keep calling
What I
me.
need you to do is when I forward the NCND to you, sign it and then we'll be done. That way I won't have to call you no more.
What
Because
is
you've
what is an
already,
NC?
yeah, the NC, when you're in the middle of a podcast, so attend to your business, call me back, I'll explain it to you.
Well, I answered your call now. I mean, you're live with us right now, bro. You're on the line. How are you?
He's not my attorney. So I will explain your NCND to you
Okay.
and you can sign it.
Can we all, since we're all together,
Once
Chris,
you get it, you
Chris
can give it
can't
to
see
whoever.
you, but he can hear you right now. Chris
Hey,
is,
buddy, once you get my NCND with what I write in it, I don't care who you show it to. All I want is your signature or a text back and say, okay, thank you. That means, yeah, I, Spencer Fothergill, was witness to all this stuff that Paul B. Croft III said and disclosed to me in confidence. And I am barred, banned for life from ever trying to do anything with it. Solicit for it, make funds, all that. I'd say call it NCND, Fothergill.
okay, I will check it out. Would you like to pray with us real quick?
I don't mind listening.
All right. Is that okay with you, Chris?
Go ahead.
Dear Father God, creator of all life, creator of all good and bad, Lord of lords and Lord of hosts, Jehovah in heaven, thank you so much for waking us up today. Thank you for my beautiful friends and brothers, Chris Anderson and Paul Croft III. God, thank you for our children. I ask that you protect them with everything. I ask that you guide their steps. God, I ask that you keep the eyes of our hearts open so that we may see you in everything, Lord. Thank you for your sweet time, your patience, your peace that encompasses all things. God, thank you for the Holy Spirit, the great comforter. I ask that you have your way with us and remove anything from our bodies, our minds, our hearts, and our spirits that are not for our highest good, our highest self, the children that you created us to be, and the men that you created us to be, Lord. It is a great, great gift to be a steward of
The
you and
Apostle
for you, Lord.
Paul,
We love
the
you.
Apostle Paul said, covet ye the gifts that are most profitable, like prophecy. He said, speaking in tongues is a gift, but it edifies the person. And if there's nobody there to do interpretations thereof, then it doesn't help the body. If you study the Word of God, the whole Word of God, Paul ceased not preaching the kingdom of heaven for 3 years. And Jesus said, this generation, there will be a generation that will not pass this generation until it's seen the kingdom of heaven returning in all of its power. Hallelujah. And then being
And
born
thank you
again,
for
not of
sending your son,
corruptible,
Jesus Christ, to die for us, Lord. Thank you for the perfect example of what it means to walk in the flesh, to be a man, and to be a
You're
leader.
welcome, guys. Don't forget when
Thank
I
you so
send
much.
Spencer within
We
24
love you.
hours when I send that to you.
Amen. I love you,
Yeah,
brother. I'll talk to you soon. God bless you. God bless you,
Don't
bro.
confuse. You can't serve God and money at the same time.
God bless you, brother. I'll talk to you at some point, okay? Sorry about that.
It's all good.
I met that man 8 years ago when I worked at Wawa in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. And I stepped outside, or no, I was on my way in to start my shift at 9 a.m. And he was sitting Indian style in the back of it on the pavement with no shoes and in some really roughed up clothes. And he was reading a Bible.
Hmm.
And so I always had this I was taught by one of my best mentors that if you're 15 minutes early, you're on time, and if you're on time, you're late.
Yep.
So I always try to get to work early, and I had a few minutes, so I went over and I sat next to him, and we struck up a friendship in a way, and it's just he's troubled, and
I
I want to be able
gotcha.
to help him as much as I can. But like I talked to him 2 days ago, and I blocked him because he just calls me like 10 times a day, and now I have him blocked. He's called me 6 times today already on star 69, like where you
Oh,
can
yeah.
call someone
Uh-huh.
even if you're blocked.
Yeah.
So anyway, forgive me, bro. But
No worries.
so 2020,
Yep.
you had quit your job,
Yep.
and you also got furloughed around the same time.
Yep.
And COVID was going on. You had started your podcast a little bit ago on your couch with your
Yeah.
Captain America youth headset
Yeah. Yep.
and not a decent mic, not a decent lighting, nothing.
Right.
And what was your wife telling you at this time? Like, what was her words to you in all this?
I mean, she was all supportive. I mean, she supported me the whole time. When I brought the idea of like quitting my job to her, she's like, maybe, because she's very analytical. I mean, she's a math teacher, so she needed to know like where's money going to come from? Because she doesn't make much as a teacher, obviously. So, eventually, she was on board. She came. She's like, "Hey, I think you're supposed to quit your job." And I said, "Okay, well, let's do it then. If we're on the same page." But yeah, she's always been supportive and through the ups and downs. Yeah, it's been stressful. I mean, you know, things like that. But she's always been supportive and stressful and understood, what I've had to do and get things done. And she's been there to help how she can and as much as she can. And yeah, super just supportive, which is good.
And her name again? It's slipping
Hannah.
me.
Hmm.
Hannah.
Yep.
I hope to meet her one day, man.
Yeah.
How long have you two been together?
Be 9 years this coming summer.
That's nice.
Yep. Yep. Crazy. Time flies.
You're checking out something, I can tell. What are you checking out?
Yeah, I'm just watching the kids on the camera here.
Okay, okay.
So yeah, just moving that so I can look at them.
Is she at work right now or she's home too?
Yep. Yeah, she teaches still math. So that's kind of one of my next big goals is be able to get to the point where she is uh, working from home if she wants. She likes teaching, so she said that'd be a hard even if we could do it. She doesn't know if she actually would, which I'm like, that's fine. If you love doing it, then keep
Dang
at it.
right.
But
Well,
so,
bro, don't let me keep you from the babies too,
oh,
man.
you're good.
If this is your time with them, bro, I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. So
Okay.
I'll just keep an eye on them. So they're
Yeah.
running around watching Mickey Mouse up there. So,
You got the ring or the blink?
we actually have some D-Link cameras.
I don't know that
So
one.
yeah,
Okay.
they can all be on an app so you can kind of move them around and see what's going on. So
That's nice. Can you talk to them also, or if you want to?
yeah, some of them like this one I could hold the mic and say something
Okay.
to them. But
I uh I had gotten cameras as a gift for our front door. My parents got me when I first bought this house, and
oh, nice.
you had to pay for the app. Like it's only like $15 a month or something. So
Right.
I totally was I haven't set them up. They've been disconnected for like a year.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy what technology can do with it now, which is nice.
It is very nice. So you focused on the podcast,
Hmm.
and did
Yeah.
you get that to a point where that was earning income, or no? Then you realized like you need to start a media company. Like, tell me about
Yeah, no,
that.
yeah. So like originally when I first started, like I knew the podcast was just gonna be kind of like a gateway, a door opener, which is what it's been for business and everything. And originally I wanted to help people grow and start a business, but like the disconnect was I've never done it. So like I couldn't in good faith like actually sell it to anyone. So like that was the biggest roadblock. And so but I had the idea of it. And eventually, like, people were like, "Hey, how'd you get your podcast to grow? How'd you get it in the top, 1.5% globally listened to? Like, how do you get all these guests? Like, blah, blah, blah. And how do you start it? How do you make it better?" And so I was like, "Well, I need money." So I was like, "Yeah, I can do this for you for this much." And it just kept growing. And then
And what was that? Do you mind if we discuss that?
the price.
Well, like what you originally did. And I
Oh
only say
yeah,
that because I
so
feel like I'm kind of like in a I'm in a similar situation that it appears to be that you were back in the day. Like I don't want to trade my my time for money
Hmm.
for the rest of my life, you know?
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship is the only way to do that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So my first thing was just like different. It was different stuff. Like someone would ask me like, um, it was like a super cheap coaching call. Like, hey, how do I do? I was like, yeah, I can do like spend an hour. I'll I'll walk you through exactly how I did it for this much. Like, okay, cool. And then I was like, next person would be like, yeah, I can launch that for you. I can do it all for you, so you don't have to worry about it. So it was a bigger offer. Um, and we still have that offer today. It's just more. It costs more than it did back then. Um, and so we'd do everything. We'd create the digital assets they'd need to record, like on video, like overlays and things. We get it in all the podcast systems, and all that kind of thing. Now it's expanded to now we can also take your episodes when they're done and edit them each month for you.
okay.
And that's what it kind of slowly grew into. And then, prices, I had to increase prices because now I have a team and our turnaround's faster and things like that. But yeah, it started like me doing kind of almost anything and everything within the space to figure
So
out like what kind of worked.
you would have them on your podcast, or you would actually set up a podcast for them?
Yes, I would set up theirs. Yeah. So,
Okay.
and a lot of the clients stemmed from having them on my show because they would see like how I did it and how it looked and how it sounded. And, they would see the results that I was getting as far as like listener base and things like that. And so, um, and then I'd say like, this is how my business has grown is through a podcast. And so they're like,
Yeah,
okay, that's what piece we want for ours. And so that's kind of just how it kind of grew. So,
that's incredible. And so
yeah.
starting out, did you get on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and like pretty much as soon as possible?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That was so I figured out the launch stuff pretty quickly by just doing my own research. And so when I launched mine, like I got in everything, all the top ones, and then all the other ones that are out there, um, and pretty simply too. So that's why when I told people like there's 20 something directories you could be in, we can help simplify it and get it done for you, so you don't have to worry about all the logistics of it. So,
That's
um,
amazing.
yeah,
Just figuring out how to get into every single one and then distribute it.
yeah.
Um, Crazy hard. That's awesome. There's an automation tool that can you, I was wondering if
Mhm.
Zapier, if you could like use an automation tool like that to be able to plug in. Been looking at a bunch of different options.
Yeah, Zapier is a great tool. There's lots to do with it. We haven't delved into like the automation of like taking the episode. Like you still have to have a person piece to it because even with AI where we're at right now, at least editing things, there's still some shortcomings within those. And so, but you can definitely automate your process to make things simpler at least. Um, which is, as a business, you have to balance overhead and simplicity and automation to for you can
Be
have better
efficient.
profit and things like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So how does it feel now to be where you're at, bro?
Uh, right now it feels it's crazy. Just looking back, like it's only been 3 years. Like we just hit 3 years not too long ago, a couple months ago.
And
And
three
just
years ago is when you hired your
officially, no, officially started to Elevate.
okay.
Yeah, so I hired my first person kind of to bring him on part time to help, and yeah, 3 years ago was
Okay.
crazy. From basically making nothing, to where we are today, um, it's a crazy thing.
I know when we talked yesterday, you said that you recently had a meeting with a potential very big partnership that you might be involved in.
Mm,
Absolutely incredible what you shared with me.
yeah,
So to go from that to where you are now, and also building a building and having multiple employees slash partners on your
yeah.
team, um, what would you say to the business owner that knows that they have they're working for a company that doesn't care that their grandma or grandpa just passed away and they have to
Yeah.
meet, there's certain protocols, but like they're sacrificing ultimately their time freedom and
Yeah.
they want to be able to have that and they're not really sure like where to go, what business to get into, but they know they want to escape that rat race, bro. What would you say to that person?
Yeah, I endure a little bit. It's no joke to quit your job and try to figure it out. It's a lot. It's a lot of stress. It's a lot of unknown. So if you can stomach it, and I'm not saying it in a way that like I'm better because I could. Um, if you can have financial backing as you start until you get to the point where it's making the same amount at least, or you're seeing the potential that it's growing. I would, kind of endure that difficulty before you just kind of hop ship. But sometimes, like for me, I think I had to just be able to go all in,
Mm.
um, because that's just kind of how I've always been that way. Like run a marathon, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna train, but I'll show up and do it. Like
I'm
whatever.
getting tingles, man. That's where I've been at recently. Like I gotta go all
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. So again, like you got to make that decision on your own. For me, it was the right call, but it's a lot because you have to think, how am I going to fund things? How am I going to support my family? Because at the time I was just married, and then Everett came in 2021, about the same time I started to Elevate. Um,
And so you didn't hire a mentor or a coach to figure any of this out. You
I did.
just,
I had a couple. I invested a couple times in coaches and mentors, but only a couple times at the beginning. And one asked for a bunch and gave me nothing,
mm.
and just said, "Here, make a list and call them." Like literally, that's all he was telling me to do. And I was like, "Dude, I just paid you like everything I had, and you're not providing what you told me you would." Then I
Mm.
had another one who I paid less, but I got more from for a stint. And then
So
I
the
was,
first one just gave you a list and said, make a
he didn't
list.
even give me a list. He said, "You got to make a list and call them, cold call them, and do this, and this." And that was it. Like there was no, it was terrible. He basically scammed me for
Was
money.
this somebody that you knew in a warm relationship? Somebody referred you to, or is this somebody
No,
you
no, he
found?
reached out. He was actually on the podcast. I had him as guest, and he started
Oh,
talking to me. He was just a really good, snake oil salesman. I mean, he
mm.
he sold me on it, and ended up being terrible. So that's why you got to really vet, who you look into for help. Make sure they've gotten and done what you want to do,
Yeah,
um, and validate it even more because you can put on a show, but if it's not the real deal, once you get in that room, you'll realize, it's all fake.
yeah. And
Or
that probably impacted the way that you work with clients now in the future.
yeah, yeah. I always try to be transparent, and like I always try to tell people like where we're at, or like if they're asking me questions, like I'm not a millionaire. I'm not, you know, you know, I don't take a lot of profit from the business because I wanted to go back into the business, to keep growing and building that foundation. So it's like I'm not, in the world's eyes, I would say I'm not a wealthy person, like in America's eyes, like I'm not super wealthy, but in my eyes, like I'm super wealthy because I get to be at home with the kids when they're home. I have a home like this. I can do these things we're
yes.
doing. So like, but I'm always trying to be transparent. I'm always trying to, go above and beyond and support how I can, and just, you know, do the best, be the best I can, and help others,
Yeah.
elevate what they're doing. So
You said a lot there. And so the difference of what society or what the world might say is wealth. What is wealth to you?
really, to me, it's just freedom. It's, financial freedom, time freedom, to be able to do what I want when I want and help who I can. And it's funny, I just posted something about this. I had a guest talking about how she believes that like everyone is, could be wealthy. Like she believes God doesn't like hold wealth from people and that everyone could have wealth. It's very, like it's very far to that side. And so I had people comment like on it, like, "Oh, if you were actually reading the Bible and following God, like you wouldn't want to be wealthy and all this stuff." And I was like, I mean, I get it. I said, "You're probably living in a tent out there, eating whatever He provides. I'm sure you probably have sold everything." Um, but someone who wants to feed and clothe the poor has to have money to do it in today's world. Like, so I would love to be that person.
We're called to build
Um,
nations, brother.
yeah. And
What's
so
I forget the parable of and what story it is, but the three sons that were each given.
yeah, a little bit. And the one who did nothing with it was like, so who is given little, or whoever is, oh, I forget the wording, but like whoever does good with a little will be given a lot,
Yes.
kind of thing. And that's how and he was like, well, it's hard for a wealthy person to fit through the eye of a needle. I was like, yeah, because in that time, a wealthy person who didn't give away stuff tried to carry it with them and they couldn't fit through the eye of a needle. I was like, it's okay to be wealthy. I don't see any problem with being wealthy. It's just what your heart is and how you use it.
Yeah.
I said,
If
because
you,
King Solomon was super wealthy. He was like, well, that's Old Testament. I was like, okay, what? Like, it's fine,
that
dude. To
doesn't
each their
count.
own.
That doesn't count.
Like to each their own. Like, it's the heart at the end of the day. Like, you could have nothing and not be building the kingdom, or you could be super wealthy and be building the kingdom. Like, it is like it's oranges to
Amen.
apples. But so, yeah, I think wealthy is just being able to being able to do that, be able to help people. And if you don't have stuff, obviously, like I said, I'm not a millionaire, so I give what I can financially, and then I try to support other people, through lessons learned or through like we try to do, a couple each year of video work for non-for-profits for free to support them. To
That's
have good missions.
amazing.
So stuff like that. So like, yeah, it's all what you kind of do with it, but that's kind of to answer your question, what wealth is to me. So,
What are a couple of the nonprofits that you help out?
we've done stuff with Narrowgate Horse Ranch, which is it helps inner city kids learn confidence and leadership and things like that.
Mm,
And
that's
then
nice.
we actually did a free video for them for their business training that they do. They bring businesses in and help them do leadership and things. And that's their one way to make money. So we did a free video for them, helped them raise like I think it was over 20 grand at their event after they played it there. So I was like, that's awesome.
That is
Uh,
awesome.
we work closely with Preserve Marriage Ministries. We've done some. They actually they started paying. They did some videos paid, and then we're volunteering our
Preserve
services
Marriage
as well.
Ministries. So is that like a husband-wife pastors that focuses on couples?
No, it's just a non-for-profit that has counselors and programs ran by Christian counselors in
Ooh,
different areas in marriage. So pre-marriage, before the ring, after the ring, and then some re-engage if couples are struggling. So
wow. That's amazing. That's a
yeah,
wonderful program.
yep.
Have you ever been in counseling?
I've went to counseling personally. Yeah, in college I went to therapy or saw one of our therapists there. But we've never done marriage counseling. So
Okay. Don't need it.
no, I think we could have. I mean, I'm sure we'd benefit from it.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think everyone could. I
Dude,
think
I love you so much, bro.
we
You
could
are such a
always.
great guy. You are such I'm serious, man. Like as you're talking and I'm like you said I just like to help people and you're doing that you're literally doing that right now. Like this wasn't even
Yeah,
supposed to be recorded.
yeah.
And um
It's
with
funny. I'm
everything that you
reading
have going on, man. Thank you.
Dan Martell's book about buy back your time,
Hmm.
and he talks about like finding the things that like bring energy and like also can might not make you money. But there's you read the book, it's good so far. I'm on chapter like 3 already. But it's like
Okay.
what I was trying to think like what actually gives me energy? Like what do I actually enjoy doing most? I could spend more time doing if I could outsource or delegate or get rid of other tasks. And it's things like this podcast. It's, I went and spoke at Indiana Wesleyan in some business classes about it. And like, I love like that
Ah,
having conversations just randomly with people about it. Like, that's what I truly enjoy. If I can leave any sort of piece that they can take and improve what they're doing and improve people's lives, like, that's what I love doing. So, like,
how
I'm
did it
trying
feel
to
to go back to
incorporate more.
your alum,
Oh, it
man?
was awesome. I loved, like,
Oh,
it was amazing. Like,
that is
such a
badass.
humbling, and it's was such an honor to be asked to come back and speak in the classes and I love taking their questions and answering them kind of on the spot, um, more than just like having a speech or like going through a presentation. So,
Yeah, a
um,
slideshow and you're just
yeah. So
doesn't it's not
and they asked some
monologue.
good questions. So it was a lot of fun. Yeah. And it's the second time. So I'm hoping to come back again, and just make it a continuous thing because it was really a lot of fun. And yeah.
How
So,
far of a drive is that for you?
it's only like 40 minutes.
Okay.
Not terrible.
I think I've mentioned this like every time we talk, but I have family in Valparaiso. That's like
Oh,
way
okay.
up
Yeah.
north. How
Yeah.
far is that from you?
Hey Siri, how far is Valparaiso from here? 2 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's been a decade since I've been there and I would love to come visit and
Yeah, I couldn't
yeah.
remember. Yeah, for sure. If you're up there. Yeah.
Um
But I'll probably have to hop off here soon, Spencer.
yeah,
Just so
yeah. Dude, this has been so great.
yeah,
I want to recap originally what we were originally talking about if that's
sure.
okay.
Yeah.
If it's okay. Um I'm gonna hit unrecord.
Okay.
Peace and love and happiness to you. Thanks for watching. If you don't know Chris Anderson with Elevate Media out of Indiana, Tipton, Indiana, the man is a beast when it comes to business, podcasting, media, all things marketing, and he's just an incredible human being. Brother, I'm thankful for this time, man. I love you. God bless
Hey,
you.
love you too, man. Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.